My mother had a 60th birthday dinner planned that night. The table was perfect. The candles were lit. My sister lifted her glass and smiled like she was about to bless the room. Then she said I was the kind of woman people called at midnight but never chose in daylight. Everyone laughed. My mother laughed first. My father looked down at his plate. My brother-in-law stared into his drink like he had misplaced his spine. No one told her to stop. No one even looked surprised. That part hurt less than it should have. I had heard worse from all of them. Just never with linen napkins and birthday cake between us. My phone buzzed beside my fork. I did not touch it. The screen lit up anyway. 2 words. Just listen. My stomach tightened because every disaster in my family started with those words. My mother used them before tearing my father apart. My father used them before confessing debt. My sister used them before handing me her lies. I turned the phone face down. I smiled back. That was the moment everything began to burn. They thought I would swallow it again and stay quiet. Those 2 words were never simple in my family. They were a lock. A warning. A job description I never agreed to. Just listen meant my mother wanted to poison the air and call it honesty. Just listen meant my father needed somewhere to hide his shame without fixing a thing. Just listen meant my sister wanted sympathy without consequence. I was the quiet room in a house full of smoke. Everyone came to me carrying sparks. Then they acted shocked when I smelled like fire. That night at the restaurant, I looked around the table and saw the pattern clearly for the first time. My mother wanted an audience. My sister wanted a target. My father wanted the meal to end without discomfort. My brother-in-law wanted to disappear. And me. I was still sitting there with my phone face down beside the cake plate, realizing the cruelest part was not what they said in public. It was how much they had already trained me to take everything silently. Before I tell you what happened after that dinner, take a second to like this video, subscribe, and tell me your city and local time below. I always read them. Now let me take you back to how my family slowly turned me into their private emotional landfill for years. My name is Lena Mercer. I am 34 years old. I live in Brookline, a tight little neighborhood tucked into Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I work as a freelance deposition transcriber. And right now, I am telling you this because silence was the first honest thing my family ever gave me. People like to imagine women like me as soft, easy to lean on, easy to dismiss. They hear that I listen well and assume I must be weak. That was never true. I was not weak. I was useful. In my family, those were not the same thing. My mother called me after midnight when she wanted to empty herself out and still feel righteous. She would complain about my father for an hour, then end the call calm enough to sleep. My father called the next day to say she had always been impossible. He said I was the only person who understood how hard his life had become. He liked that sentence. He used it often. My sister, Elise, was worse because she made everything sound casual. She could confess something ugly in the same tone most people used to ask for extra napkins. She would tell me what she had done, who she had texted, what she had hidden. Then she would sigh and say she just needed someone safe. Even Mark, her husband, found his way to me. He sat in my car after family dinners, hands locked around the wheel, asking questions he already feared were true. Then the holidays came. Birthdays, graduation parties, baby showers. At those tables, the same people who poured their secrets into me would look me over and smile like I was the sad joke everyone already knew. Too serious. Too single. Too much. Not enough. I let them think I did not notice the pattern. That was my mistake. I kept a pair of white-wired earbuds in my coat pocket back then. After every call, I wrapped the cord around my fingers until the tips went numb. It looked like a habit. It was not. It was practice for keeping everything tied down. There was nothing dramatic about how it happened at first. That was the trick. My family never arrived like a storm. They arrived like weather. Constant. Familiar. Easy to excuse until your bones started aching. My mother called on grocery runs, in parking lots, from the laundry room, from bed with the television humming in the background. She liked to whisper when she was being cruel. It made her feel measured. Reasonable. She would say my father had failed her again. Then she would list every proof like items on a receipt. By the time she hung up, she sounded lighter. I sounded older. My father did the opposite. He called in daylight. He wanted sympathy to sound factual. He talked about bills, pressure, sacrifice, bad timing. Your mother does not understand. He never yelled. He just kept stacking his disappointments onto me until I was carrying them too. Elise only called when she wanted cover. If she was late, she needed me to say traffic was bad. If she missed dinner, she needed me to say she had helped me with work. If she wanted to feel less guilty about some new lie, she told me first so the truth could sit somewhere outside her own body. Mark did not trust me. Not fully. But he trusted my silence. That was enough. He would sit in my car after Sunday dinners and ask careful questions about Elise. Not because he wanted answers. Because saying them out loud made him feel less crazy. Then we all cleaned up and gathered for family pictures. That was the part that got under my skin. They used me in private and edited me in public. Around neighbors, cousins, church friends, and anyone holding a paper plate, I became the cautionary tale. Lena works too much. Lena thinks too much. Lena has no fun. Lena is still alone. I would smile. I would pass the casserole. I would refill iced tea and keep my face still. But something had started to shift by then. I was beginning to notice that every secret they handed me came with the same unspoken rule. Hold this for me. Bleed quietly. Make my mess disappear. And the first time I truly needed one of them, I learned how little room they had ever left for me. It happened on a gray Tuesday in March, parked outside McGee after an appointment I had walked into alone. My hands were cold. My mouth was dry. For once, I was not calling to absorb another person's damage. I was calling because I was scared. That was when the silence on the other end finally told me the truth about my family. I sat in my car outside McGee with the engine off and the March rain ticking against the windshield. The nurse had said the words carefully. More tests. More waiting. Nothing final yet. But enough to make the inside of my chest feel hollow. I looked at my phone for a full minute before I made the first call. My mother did not answer. I called my father next. He sent me to voicemail, then texted 3 minutes later. In a meeting. Everything okay? I stared at those 2 words and almost laughed. Everything okay was what people asked when they did not want the real answer. I called Elise last. She picked up on the 4th ring, breathless, irritated, already somewhere else in her head. Hey, can you talk later? I need you to tell Mark I was with you Thursday night if he asks. I closed my eyes. I did not say I had just come from a hospital appointment alone. I did not say my hands were shaking. I did not say I had called her because for one stupid moment I wanted a sister instead of a liar. I asked one question. Why would he ask that? She went quiet for half a beat. Then she clicked her tongue like I was the difficult one. Lena, please do not start. I just need something simple from you. Something simple. That was the phrase, not the request, that changed me. She was asking me to hold her weight again while mine was slipping straight through my own ribs. I hung up. No one called back. Not my mother. Not my father. Not Elise. Hours passed. The rain stopped. People crossed the lot with grocery bags and strollers and takeout cups. The world kept moving like nothing had cracked. That was the first payoff. Cold and clean. I was never their daughter in need. Never their sister in pain. Never their person. I was storage. A shelf. A drain. A locked room. The second I needed tenderness, they reached for utility instead. Again. If you have ever been the one everyone unloads on, but no one shows up for when your own chest caves in, then you already know this kind of loneliness. It does not shout. It settles. If that has happened to you, leave me a comment below. I read every one. And if this story hits something real in you, subscribe now, because what Elise asked me to do after that dinner pushed my family straight into the trap they built with their own mouths. A week after my hospital appointment, my mother's birthday dinner finally came. Same restaurant. Same polished glasses. Same people pretending they were decent because the lighting was soft. I almost did not go. Then I thought about all the years I had shown up for everyone else. I put on a dark coat, drove across the bridge, and walked in anyway. By dessert, Elise had already made her joke about me being useful at midnight and unwanted by morning. Everyone laughed on cue. I smiled once and let it pass. My father studied the tablecloth like eye contact cost money. Mark rubbed his glass with one thumb. No one wanted truth. They wanted this to slide past. Dinner ended. Chairs scraped back. Coats came off hooks. The valet stand glowed under the awning outside. That was where Elise caught my arm. Her grip was light. Her face was not. "Can we talk for a second?" I looked at her hand until she let go. She stepped closer and lowered her voice. "Things with Mark are getting ugly. I am filing. I need you to help me." "Help how?" She exhaled hard like I was wasting time on purpose. "If anyone asks, you were with me that Thursday night. Just for a few hours. That is all." I kept my face still. "Were you with me?" She gave me a look I had seen since childhood. Half annoyance. Half command. "Do not do this here. It is simple. If it is simple, write it." Her jaw tightened. "I am not putting family business in writing." "Then it is not simple." My mother appeared beside us almost on cue, her purse tucked under one arm, her smile already thinning. "What is going on?" Elise answered before I could. "She is making this difficult." My mother turned to me with that wounded look she wore when she wanted obedience to feel moral. "Your sister is under pressure. She needs support, Lena." I asked the only question that mattered. Support for what? The truth. Or the version that helps her? My mother went quiet. Elise crossed her arms. "You always do this. You act superior when someone needs you." I felt my throat tighten, then settle. "No. I listen when people need honesty. What you want is cover." Mark came out of the restaurant then, holding his keys, stopping short when he saw us. He looked from Elise to me and seemed to understand enough to stay silent. My mother pressed on. "After everything this family has done for you." I let that sit between us for one beat. Then I said it. "Stop calling this love." I turned, handed my valet ticket to the attendant, and drove home with my phone face down on the seat beside me. I stopped answering the next morning. Not just Elise. Everyone. I muted the family group chat. I let my mother send 3 voicemails in a row. I watched my father's name light up once, then disappear. I turned my phone over and kept packing. I just stepped out of the role they had built for me and refused to step back in. 2 weeks later, I left Pittsburgh. I rented the upper half of a small duplex in Millersburg, Ohio, a town quiet enough to hear your own footsteps after dark. The porch leaned a little. The woman downstairs watered geraniums every morning and minded her own business. The mailbox out front rattled in the wind, and every time it did, I braced for drama that never came. Peace felt unfamiliar, which was how I knew it was real there. I slept 6 straight hours for the first time in months. That should have felt sad. It felt expensive. The first week passed without a single message asking where I was. The second week passed the same way. No one asked if I had gotten my test results. No one asked if I was safe. Then, on the 19th day, my father sent an email. "Call your sister. She needs you." That was it. No greeting. No "how are you?" No apology for the dinner. I read the message once and closed my laptop. An hour later, my mother sent a voicemail through email because she could not reach my new number. "Lena, families go through hard seasons. Your sister is overwhelmed. This is not the time to make things about yourself." I listened twice. Not because it hurt. Because I wanted to hear how cleanly she could erase me. That was the social control layer. Not concern. Not curiosity. Narrative. They needed the family story to hold. I had always been the quiet one, the reasonable one, the storage unit with a pulse. If I stopped playing that part, someone had to explain the empty space. My mother intended to do it before anyone else could. Elise found my work email the next day. Mark is trying to make me look unstable. I need you to confirm where I was that Thursday. You know he has been controlling for years. Stop punishing me because you are upset. I stared at the screen until my tea went cold. Then I wrote back. I am not punishing you. I am refusing to lie for you. She replied in 6 minutes. Wow. After everything I covered for you growing up. I closed the email and went for a walk. Millersburg had a narrow trail behind the hardware store that opened into a field. At sunset, the sky turned the color of old peaches. No one there knew my name. A few days later, the legal pressure started. The email came from a divorce attorney in Canton representing Elise. Not a request for my version. Not a question. A full narrative with dates inserted and my name typed neatly above a signature line. I printed it at the shipping store near the square and read it at a corner table. The statement claimed Elise had been with me on the Thursday Mark had asked about. It said she arrived at my apartment after 7 with the kids. It said she was shaken. It said she described escalating behavior at home. It said I observed fear in both children. It said I advised her to leave for the night. None of it had happened. Not one line. What chilled me was not the lie itself. It was how ordinary they wanted it to feel. Just sign. Just send. Just become part of the machinery. That was the procedural control layer. My sister had stopped trying to persuade me with family language. Now she wanted paperwork to do what guilt could not. I took out a pen and underlined every false sentence. There were 9. Then I scanned the marked copy and emailed it back to the attorney and to Elise. This statement is false. If Elise wants me to review anything further, send the version she signs first. That was all. No lecture. No anger. I hit send and went back to work. The answer came from Elise, not the attorney. You are unbelievable. No signed version ever arrived. That was the second payoff. Sharp. Quiet. Better than shouting. Elise was willing to say anything. She was willing to make me say it too. But she was not willing to sign her own name to the lie before asking me to carry it. That told me everything. She did not need truth. She needed a witness shape. Someone with a familiar face and a long history of silence. When I would not hand that over, the temperature changed. 3 mornings later, my mother posted on Facebook. The post opened with an old picture of the 2 of us at a church picnic, both of us smiling hard enough to pass for happy. Then came the caption. Some people disappear the second family gets hard. Pray for the ones carrying everything without help. No names. But the comments filled in the rest. You are so strong. Children do not realize what mothers survive. Praying for your daughter to soften her heart. Elise commented under it 20 minutes later. Certain people only know how to receive love when it asks nothing of them. I read that sentence twice and felt something inside me go still. Not break. Still. But privately my father sent one more email. Please call your mother. This has gone far enough. I finally answered him. It has not gone far enough. You just do not like where it is going. He never replied. By then, the story they were building was obvious. I had abandoned my family in a crisis. Elise was a struggling mother under pressure. My mother was carrying everyone. Mark was the source of chaos. And I had become cold, selfish, unreachable, and cruel. They were counting on one thing. That I would stay silent the way I always had. That silence had protected them for years. They forgot it had also preserved them. I started sorting files instead. Old voicemails I had saved without thinking. Emails forwarded to myself when I needed a record of dates. Time-stamped transcripts from work habits I had never broken at home. Fragments of conversations, confessions, requests, complaints. I did not collect them out of revenge. I collected them because I had spent years being told what was said was not what was meant, what happened was not what happened, what I remembered was too sharp. Records had become my way of staying sane. Now they were becoming something else. Structure. One folder turned into 4. 4 turned into 9. I labeled them by name, by date, by kind of lie. My dining table disappeared under neat stacks of paper and sticky notes. And still no one asked how I was. That was the coldest part. They did not miss me. They missed access. They missed storage. By the first week of April, my mother had shared 2 more vague posts. Elise had switched from pleading to righteousness. A second lawyer email arrived asking if I had reconsidered my position. I answered with one line. No. That same night, I bought a small black USB drive from the drugstore on the corner. It cost less than $12. I brought it home in a paper bag and set it on the kitchen table under the lamp. It looked harmless. Almost cheap. I turned it over once between my fingers and thought about every time I had been told to just listen. Then I opened my laptop. I did not know exactly how the ending would sound yet. I only knew one thing. If they wanted a story about me, they were finally going to hear their own voices first. I mailed the package on a Thursday morning. Padded envelope. No return address. One USB drive inside. One sheet of paper folded once. Play this before anyone says my name again. That was all I wrote. My mother signed for it the next afternoon. I know because the tracking update hit my email at 2:14, and 10 minutes later Elise posted a new status about betrayal, loyalty, and people who vanish when children are hurting. She thought she was still controlling the story. She thought the room was still hers. By 7 that night, they were all at my mother's house. I was not there. I did not need to be. I knew the shape of that living room better than I knew most prayers. My mother on the end cushion. My father in his chair pretending neutrality was wisdom. Elise standing when she should have sat. Mark near the doorway, quiet, alert, tired of being rewritten. My mother plugged in the drive. Elise was the one who said it first. Just play it. She thought I had finally sent an apology. Or an explanation. Something soft. Something she could cut apart and use. Instead, the first audio file opened with my mother's voice. Low. Sharp. Familiar. Your father is a coward. Do not repeat that. I just need someone to listen. Then my father's voice in a separate file. Your mother does not understand pressure. I have covered this family for years. Keep this between us. Then Elise. I swear it meant nothing. I just needed someone who made me feel seen. Do not judge me. Just listen. Then Mark. I think she is lying to me again. I am not asking you to betray her. I just need to know I am not crazy. File after file. Date after date. Their own voices. Their own words. No editing tricks. No speeches from me. Just the pattern, stripped clean and laid in order. By the 4th file, the house had gone quiet. Not guilty quiet. Recognizing quiet. The next folder was labeled Thursday. That was the one Elise opened herself. Inside were 2 files. The first was a saved call from the day I sat outside McGee, when I called because I was scared and she answered with a lie already loaded. Can you tell Mark I was with you Thursday night if he asks? Then my voice. Why would he ask that? Then hers again. Please do not start. I just need something simple from you. The second file was shorter. She always folds when family pressure gets loud enough. That line had come from a week before the birthday dinner. She had left it in a voice note after too much wine and not enough caution. She thought she was talking strategy with her sister. She was describing a system. I could picture my mother stopping the playback there. That was always her instinct when truth landed too close for comfort. But Elise said the words that finished her. Open the last one. So my father did. The final file was not audio. It was a PDF packet. My written refusal to provide false testimony. The marked-up statement from the divorce attorney with every false line underlined. The email chain showing. I had asked for one thing only. Send the version Elise signs first. There was no signed version. Because there never would have been. At the bottom was one final page. If my name is used again in connection with false allegations, public smears, or pressure to provide untrue statements, this packet will be forwarded to the relevant attorneys. No threats. No drama. Just structure. That was the twist. Not that they had all poisoned each other in private. I had known that for years. It was this. I had not abandoned my family. I had resigned from the job they built out of my silence. My mother could not call me cruel after hearing herself. My father could not call me difficult after watching himself disappear behind convenience. Elise could not call me cold after being caught trying to turn me into a witness-shaped shield. And Mark finally did not need my opinion at all. He had her words. In order. In context. Clean. I never heard every detail of what happened after that. I did not chase updates. I did not ask. But I know the story split open that night. Not because I attacked them. Because I stopped absorbing them. My last line was on the final page under my name. I am not abandoning this family. I am resigning from the role none of you were honest enough to name. The first thing that disappeared was the family group chat. No one officially left it. No one announced anything. It just stopped moving, like a clock that finally ran out of batteries after years of making noise no one questioned. My mother deleted her Facebook posts within 24 hours. Not because she felt shame. Because shame still imagines there is a person underneath it. She deleted them because the story no longer held. My father sent one email 3 days later. I am sorry things went this far. That was all. No subject line. No mention of McGee. No mention of the dinner. No mention of the years he had watched me carry what should have broken across many shoulders. I did not answer. Elise did not write at all. Her lawyer did. A brief message saying they would not be requesting any statement from me moving forward. I read it once, archived it, and went back to work. Mark never contacted me. Either. He did not need to. By then he had what he had needed from the start. Not my loyalty. Not my interpretation. Just the truth in its own order. That spring in Millersburg settled around me slowly. The woman downstairs kept watering her geraniums every morning. The hardware store still closed early on Sundays. The trail behind the square stayed quiet near dusk, and I started walking it after dinner with my phone zipped deep in my coat pocket. Some evenings I still reached for it out of reflex. A hand memory. A trained response. My body had learned to expect crisis the way some people expect weather. Then I would feel the stillness around me and remember. No one was coming to pour themselves into me tonight. That was not loneliness. That was room. My final test results came in during April. Benign. Follow-up in 6 months. I sat at my kitchen table, read the message twice, and let out a breath I think I had been holding since the parking lot outside McGee. I told no one in Pittsburgh. Not because I wanted revenge. Because access is not the same as love. Information is not intimacy. A family does not earn the right to your fear just because they helped create your name. By summer, Brookline felt like another country. I still knew every street by heart. I still knew which bridge my mother hated crossing at night, and which bakery Elise used when she needed to look thoughtful at a school event. But memory had lost its leash. It no longer pulled me back. That was the real ending. Not the USB. Not the silence at my mother's house. Not even the moment Elise realized she had opened the file that ended her version of me. The real ending was smaller. I woke up one morning, made coffee, opened the windows, and noticed my chest felt quiet. Not empty. Not numb. Quiet. There is a difference. Some people think boundaries are punishments. They are not. They are measurements. They show you exactly where love ended and appetite began. My family did not lose me because I became cruel. They lost access because I became accurate. And accuracy is a hard thing for users to survive. The old numbers are still blocked. The late-night voicemails are gone. No one asks me to carry what they refuse to name. The quiet costs less than their chaos ever did. It also gives more back to me every single day. Now I have a question for you. What would you have done in my place? Would you have sent that drive and let the truth speak? Or would you have gone back one more time and tried to save people who only loved your silence? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone, and I will see you in the next story.